Good afternoon. I'm Sourav Mohanty. I've secured All India rank 9 this time, and my optional was public administration. As you can see, in 2015, my last attempt where I secured rank 413, I had got 209 in public administration, and this time there has been an increase of almost 90 marks where I've secured 299, and this is one of the major reasons for my getting rank 9 this time. Background is I am a mechanical engineer, then I worked in Reliance for quite some time, then I worked with state administrative service where also I had public administration and psychology as my optional. Then I joined Indian Revenue Service through my rank 413 last year, and now joining Indian Administrative Service with mark 299. Public administration since 2012 has been a subject of much debate, controversy. People have started many misconceptions, and to be honest, the general atmosphere at Old Rajendra Nagar is that some teachers, they try to again make it more complex. Some teachers like at GS Core, they make it more simpler for students. But overall, people are very much confused and terrified of the word public administration. And to be honest, till 2000, even after my last attempt in 413 when I got 209 rank, I was also very much terrified of public administration because the questions were coming, were very difficult, and when you wrote answers to those questions, the corresponding marks you got, when you compare that with another optional like sociology, anthropology, the marks you got were also pathetically less, and which actually made you go out of the merit list. It's a fact. But after my last attempt in 413 when I got 209 rank, I did subtle changes in my preparation strategy, etc., which helped me gain almost 90 marks more, 299, and I must give the credit to GS Core, my answer writing practice here. First of all I went through videos of mass augmentation class held by Ashutosh sir, where he has tried to actually demystify public administration. Simple. It's a very simple subject. Probably among all the optionals of UPSC, public administration is the simplest subject which a layman from any stream can come and read. Because it is about what you finally become. You become an administrator. What is the science behind the art of administration, or the art behind the science of administration? Ashutosh sir has been very much instrumental through his mass augmentation programs to make it simpler. One must see the videos. It is available on YouTube for free. Secondly, in course of time, I'll be coming for the quality improvement program, basic features, which also helped me a lot, and I'll just start. First of all, many people are confused about the sources, about what to read, where to read from public ad. There are so many YouTube videos, someone tells that you read Harvard Review, case studies, etc. I kept it very simple because I did not have much time after my last attempt. And in my last attempt when I reviewed, initially there was disappointment on seeing that I had secured 209 marks. But then on seeing the questions and my answers, I rewrote my answers again. I saw that I had just mugged up from the book Mohit Bhattacharya. I'll be taking the name of the author. Mohit Bhattacharya, certain other books such as Rajni Goyal Arora. I had made it a point which I had got success in my state civil services exam. If there is a question, I used to simply blurt out without blurting out what I had done by rote. Rote learning I depended on, no diagrams, no analysis, no facts, figures, nothing. So obviously examiner would give me 209. In fact, after seeing my answers once again, I thought that 209 is actually a bigger mark than me. Then I went through the videos of mass augmentation program of sir, subsequently attended the QIP program, and thereon I did certain improvements. I attended a test series here. Regularly my marks in the test series also went up by the day. I had frequent discussions with Ashutosh sir, and basically certain difficult terms in public administration. When people talk about postmodernism, post-structuralism, humanistic phenomenological theory, which when you read from a source like Mohit Bhattacharya or IGNOU notes, there is no one to explain it to you normally. But it is actually a very simple process. Postmodernism is the antidote of modernism. Modernity stood for rationality. Postmodernism stands for anything which is but rational. For example, modernity focused on efficiency, postmodernism focused on the human aspects of organization. So this simple way of conveying the difficult part of public administration is very important. And I learnt it the hard way that the more you keep it simple in public administration, thanks to GS4 and the faculty here, the more you keep it simple, the better it is. In public administration, answer writing. For sources, what did I refer? First is notes, GS core, handbook. For paper 1 I am telling. Second is Aribam. Aribam is good for last minute revision when you want to summarize whatever you have learned for paper 1. Third is, many people ignore this, but many portions of paper 1 are very good, well explained in Lakshmikant, prelims, public administration. Fourth is, after these three, Mohit Bhattacharya, New Horizons of Public Administration at the last. Selected works of IGNOU. IGNOU MPA of paper 1, which were relevant. Along with this, yes, Prasad and Prasad for thinkers. Whereas last time I had only read Mohit Bhattacharya, Fadia and none of these sources. In addition to this, what I did was, the things became simpler. I had my conceptual clarity reinforced, that what is public administration, theory of public administration, how it has gone through the ages. Then I practiced lots of past questions, and when I did those past questions which I had not done previously, I learned that UPSC actually rephrases those past questions in a newer way every 3-4 years. If you see, if suppose something which is very difficult, like Herbert-Simon theory on facts and values, which UPSC asks in a very difficult manner, it is actually asked another time in a simpler manner, and through the discussion classes only I could get to know that. So I attended the discussion classes very regularly. That is very must if you have to succeed, because there you can track your progress. Please attend the discussion classes after every exam. I understand it takes almost 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 4 hours, but trust me, these 4 hours you would know what you have written, what you should have written, where you lack, and sir is always there to help you after these discussion classes. You can take jolly well 3 hours more, he will be there to guide you throughout. So please attend discussion classes after every exam. Second is, I started relating, these are the sources I have shown. I started relating every portion of the thinkers to portion of paper 1. For example, if it is about administrative reforms, administrative reforms in our country are not progressing that well. What is the solution? We can use Mary Parker Follett concept of integration, where no one loses, because it is basically a tussle between bureaucracy who does not want to reform, politicians who are indifferent to reform, and the common class or common people who want reform. So it is actually an application of Mary Parker Follett concept of circular integration, where everybody gives a bit but without losing anything, and ultimately everyone becomes a winner. And another, for example, another thing is the district collector. Why is he so ineffective? Because Herbert-Simon says he takes part mostly in program decisions, which are program decisions such as protocol duties, census operation, etc., which can be done by lower levels of the organization. Hardly there he has any time for unprogrammed or non-programmed decisions, which actually he should be doing, like having a vision for the district, having a plan for the district. I reread all my thinkers. Prior to this, my thinkers concept was thinkers ने क्या बोला है, उनका क्या points है, उसको रट्टा मारकर exam आया, exam में बग देना है. But then I started correlating thinkers with every topic of public administration. So, and it helped me tremendously, because I could know and I could quote in my answers. For example, if there is a question on Taylorism, I'll discuss a very important question on Taylorism. A question had come. Taylorism is considered very controversial despite its popularity. So there I quoted Taylor. Why it is controversial? Because of his pro-capitalist behavior, focus on efficiency, etc. Why it is popular still now? Because currently ARC, across ARC governments all want increasing efficiency of the public servants. Our pay commission are nothing but, pay commissions are nothing but, Taylor advocated the policy of piece rate system, pay according to the work, pay commissions also tell about outcome and pay according to work. So these all things, Taylor etc. I could relate better with every current affair topic. This is another aspect I did. Reread thinkers, understood what they really mean. What is the relevance of the thinker in Indian context, Indian administration context, public administration context. This is one more important thing, and this was actually decoded by Sir. Sir also during his discussion classes, during his way of explaining the answers, he used to quote this and used to always tell that interlink concepts of public ad with current affairs, public ad with general studies. Thereby you would be definitely successful. So this, please reread thinkers. Don't think that thinkers are there only for one portion of the syllabus, administrative thought. Thinkers thought has to be there continuously. You have to, every answer you write, you must think like a public administration thinker and think what are his implications. And every question also you would find some way or the other. Second is this fear of questions, fear factor of public administration where people are getting discouraged. I'll tell you, optional is just like, it's like a devotion. You have to devote your 100% to optional. There are people, I have seen people take certain examples that one person has changed, got disastrous mark in one optional. Here, the second time he has gone for another optional, he has got good marks. There are countless such stories floating in the market. But just think, when you have put 100% in one optional and it does not give you result at that time, accepted. Next time, at least you need to put 80% of your previous effort. Then also, if the questions and the things come your way, you would definitely get success. But if you are going in for a different optional, you cannot go operate at 80%. You have to again give 100%. Maybe more than 100, 120% because this is an entirely new thing you would be reading. Number one. So, if so devote, if you are faithful to your husband, I mean optionals are like your wives, you should always be faithful to them. So if you are faithful to one optional, stick with it. Secondly, public ad for continuously 5 years, maybe it was getting low marks. But more than 50% students used to secure, maybe top 100 the percentages was coming down. But overall 50%, approximately 50%, you can see the statistics. Students come from PubAd background, top 1000. No other optional has this advantage in public ad. Third and most importantly, why I did not change public ad even though 209, because first of all I could knew that there was something wrong with me, not per se wrong with UPSC. We always blame, in whenever our optional or any mark goes down, we always say UPSC ने हमको मार डाला. हमने खुद को मारा ये मैंने नहीं सोचा, ये हम सोचते भी नहीं हैं. If you go for optionals, मेरा conceptual clarity ही नहीं था. I probably when I reread सर का notes देखा, answer writing style change किया, तब देखा कि अरे यार मैंने कितना कम पढ़ा था, उसमें 209 भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. Third, fourth is आपको almost GS2 का more than 50% is covered with PubAd, paper 2. इस बार 3 questions directly from public ad, at least directly जो public ad, which all public ad students had an edge. All those traditional bureaucratic structures, government participation and people's participation in all stages is very cardinal. These are directly 3 questions. CAG question, PubAd related, which is, I mean, it is not related. The question on CAG which a PubAd student can write because financial administration CAG is a very vital part. The examples and the relevance which a PubAd student can write about CAG, no one else can. So 6 to 7 questions, and more than 50% of your course you need not revise once again because you are taking PubAd paper 2. PubAd paper 3, financial administration, management, internal security, disaster management, then e-governance. All of this is covered in PubAd paper 2. No other subject gives you this much of leeway in allowing all this in paper 2. Finally, ethics paper. Everyone knows this time how well PubAd students have secured, because part A was only about public administration. A person who is excellent in public administration is directly proportional to his marks in ethics. I can bet on that. So you are almost getting 750 marks extra with, yes, this time essay. 2 topics straight from public administration: cooperative federalism, water disputes. Again, these are the forte of any PubAd student. So, my dear friends, people who used to despise public ad, this time they were jealous, because almost you got 250, 1,000 marks as bonus, in addition to PubAd questions also being very good this time, and marking also very good. Almost 1600 marks you had an edge over other candidates. So please remember, if people are getting low marks in public administration, it is because they are not able to match the expectations of UPSC. UPSC is asking general questions, simple questions. You just have to raise your level up. You are getting good marks in public administration, as well as you are getting a bonus of not having to revise or read a lot more in paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, as well as your essay. Because there will be some or the other topic which is connected to public administration in your essay topic every year. So this answers my second question: trend of questions, fear factor, why you should take public ad. Answer writing, how to improve. This is a very important portion. Sir, would you like to tell something, or should I tell? See, I'll tell what are the differences in my answer writing this year. I'll be, for example, many portions of this year's QIP which are normally not there in any public administration book or material. These are very special portions of QIP. Simon-Waldo debate, this you won't find in any book or any material. Post-positivism, deconstructivism, post-behavioral perspective, these are only, hi-fi sounding words which are done more complex by teachers, but sir has really made that very simple for you. Marxist approach, neo-Marxist approach, these are very important concepts. For example, there is a question on Gramsci and Taylor today morning. I was discussing with sir. Taylor was pro-capitalism. Gramsci was Marxist in his approach. Normally we see that in the syllabus, but we do not cover that. But actually the question 2 to 3 years back was, you have to relate Marxist approach with Taylorism. That only if you can go to the Marxist approach and done in a very simple manner by sir, you can definitely succeed. Governmentality and community power approach, again this is a part of the so-called hidden syllabus. Governmentality by Foucault, sir does it tremendously well, brilliantly sir explains, with case studies. And most important is, you need not put in that effort to bring in case studies or examples, sir does that for you itself. So you just have to remember those examples and quote it in the paper. These are ready-made examples which no one else does, quoting relevant. People tell that quote relevant examples, but we neither have the time or resources that we can go and find examples for every aspect. That you get in this QIP program, where you can actually get those case studies in. Again, neo-liberal state debate, directly there is a question this time, state versus market debate. There is direct question on 15 marks, which was again I just say that I am grateful to sir for it. Normative concerns and rationality. What is normative concern? What is rationality? Normally if you go for Mohit Bhattacharya, you won't get it explained. If you won't get it explained from IGNOU notes. Sir does that brilliantly well in his QIP program. You must see that. Second is, sir, it is a very short program. Second is theories. Among theories, sir has done some good work, but best study is public policy. Changing perspective in public policy. This normally every year UPSC asks this same question. Changing perspective in public policy in different ways. And sir will explain you which is the best way to answer those questions. It is actually a very static question. One day it will ask about David Distance black box model, then sometime it will ask about elite group theory, etc. Sir will explain that much brilliantly to you. Developmental policy in comparative public administration, no one does it about developmental perspectives in environmental, social and industrial forum. That is another very important aspect of QIP program. Third is administrative reforms. Normally we focus more that in paper 2, but paper 1 also UPSC is starting to ask at almost 1 or 2 questions on administrative reforms and administrative ethics, which will also help in your ethics portion for paper 4. So please that aspect you must always go for. So for example, civil services, issues in reforms, personal management, global perspective. Always you must for paper 1, this is a very important aspect. For paper 1 you must quote examples and relate it with Indian administration as well as global perspective, because if you see the core structure, paper 1 first, introduction itself, globalization, liberalization and privatization is a very focus area. So global perspective you must link your answer to what is happening in the global sphere and about Indian administration. How does, for example, Taylor relate to Indian administration? Pay commission, etc., administrative reforms commission. New public management policy, how does it relate to Indian administration? It is about DIPAM, Department of Industrial Promotion, privatization, asset management. It is, new public administration relates to cost cutting. Retrenching of employees. Now the current government is going for 360-degree appraisal. That is an example of new public management policy. This you will get in this QIP program done by sir, as well as discussion after the exams. Most importantly, brief overview of hidden syllabus. No one knows what hidden syllabus is, but sir will tell you very short and with much clarity about what the hidden syllabus is, which people really dread. And people go on reading about Foucault, Derrida, unnecessarily they go into those, for example, I was recommended a organizational theory and governance book, which frankly did not get into my head at all. But when I asked sir, sir explained that very brilliantly in his short lectures. So you must attend this program. And about my answer writing, I did some very specific changes. First of all, I put facts and figures in almost all my answers. For example, if there is a question on public corporations in paper 1, public corporations and ministers, ministerial control, I'll just see the question. There is a question, the autonomy of public corporations raised a great debate about the internal working and external relations with the ministers and the parliament. I just gave a brief statistics about how many what is the state of the public sector in India, what is the outlay, how many are profit and loss making units. I focused on giving these facts and figures in almost all my answers where there was need. Unnecessarily I did not give, but suppose public PSU, public corporation, I used to give these facts and figures. Second is, this question states, autonomy of public corporations raised a great deal about our internal working and external relations with the ministers and the parliament. There I quote another thinker, Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker says, we need to go for management by objective and allow autonomy to public corporations. If they fail, shut them down. So I had this attitude that I will quote at least in each of my answer. This is my standard operating procedure. I quote facts. I would explain the things first. I quote certain facts and figures about that particular public sector. Then I quote Peter Drucker, one of the thinkers at least in every answer, even if it is a 10-mark answer. Third is I give relevant example. For example, public corporation, I gave the example of Air India, which after 3 consecutive years of losses had started performing better because a specialist Ashwini Lohani or a person had come and managed the thing. So I gave a relevant example. So every answer you are writing, you must give a relevant example. In Indian context, public corporations is asked, but you have to give an example of Indian context. Then you have to quote a thinker. Then you have to quote facts and figures. Sir would explain. Sir, और थोड़ा क्या बताइए? Sir. Sir, standard structure I followed. Introduction. Sir.
That's a question about the terrorism.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So when students have the problem, that they first want to, or they want to know that what should be written in the introduction. The introduction should explain the question, or the introduction should give you an idea of what you are going to write in the answer.
Okay.
I think this is a very important part.
Okay.
It should be brief,
sir,
but it conveys your real motive behind the answer. And like you said, when you go for the conclusion should be futuristic.
Yes.
It should have elements of
Solution.
And somewhere you can say it must present a positive picture of what you have written.
Yes, 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 sir. Yes,
I think this part, the body what we say, is more related to, like you said, facts. I think 60, that's it. And analysis.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like you said, case studies. I think case study is more important part, because whatever practical aspect we are writing, that is to the case study. Let's say question on e-governance and development.
Sir.
So you can write philosophical statements regarding e-governance. It will do this, it will do this. But how will you tell the examiner, or for that matter anybody who is reading, that what is that development mean?
Exactly.
So if it uplifts the status of women or the per capita income, then definitely development.
Or suppose a biometric attendance increases the attendance in public, that is an example of information
You
technology.
can have some data, so that you will convey the impact of ICT or any GP, National Government Program 2006,
exactly,
and NGP 2.2 2014. So what difference it has brought? So we have focused, we focus on the comparative perspective.
Comparative perspective.
I think that is the real data which is there.
Exactly, sir.
Instead of marking the data, we must use it in comparative way. Poverty ratio, how they have increased, how they have increased.
Yes, so this exactly this purpose of facts figures is not to show that you have learned something and you want to impress the examiner. It again I tell you, relevant examples also, it has to be very relevant. For example, in Taylorism, I did not quote facts figures because usme kuch nahi tha. Sir had asked this question. I first introduced what is Taylorism. It is application of scientific principles to a working environment or the way you work. Scientific. What is scientific? Measurement, standardized, precision, reliability. That is Taylorism.
Student mistakes what make it what? They write all the characteristics of scientific.
Exactly, sir. Exactly, sir.
That is not right.
Exactly. They are science, not rule of thumb, harmony, not discord. They go because that the examiner knows. He wants to understand. Exactly, sir. And it's a 10-mark question. So you must understand, first of all, you have very less time for this. You have hardly 7 minutes. Okay. So examiner knows science, not rule of thumb, harmony, not discord, etc. You must understand, you must make him understand what is Taylorism, scientific application of scientific techniques to the way you work, whatever work you do. Why the question came, Taylorism is considered controversial, even it was very successful. Where it was successful? In that era, the absenteeism went down, the output went up, efficiency of workers went up, profits started coming in. It was successful. Why it was controversial? It dehumanized the person. It made the worker a mere cog in the machine. It led to breakdown of the social structure of the organization. It led to more disinterest of the worker. He was not creative anymore. Okay. Finally, if you write in a conclusion format, however, you can write what I wrote. I don't know, sir would correct me. I wrote, Taylorism, in spite of its many negatives, is still successful in India because is still successful, or is still considered, Taylor is still considered a pioneer in scientific management, because now it is the era of digital Taylorism. Amazon is using robots to make the workforce more efficient. I wrote about pay commission. It is also about piece rate of work. Hence, barring the negative consequences of Taylorism, if we ignore that, Taylorism is actually a very successful procedure. That was my approach to the answer. So I covered almost everything. Extra what I did was this pay commission thing, efficiency. Subsequent ARCs, they focus on increasing the efficiency of workforce. On the outcome, employees should be more outcome oriented. Nowadays people are not seeing how much work you are doing. Is that work beneficial to the society? That is also Taylorism. It is about a quantitative aspect of things. So that thing, when I put in extra, obviously the examiner would feel impressed that he has answered the question, he has put in something extra and value addition. So that is, and simply, and UPSC is also asking you that. But people, what they do, even if last year I would have done the same answer, I would have written Taylorism is about science, not rule of thumb, harmony, not discord, etc., etc. Then I would have written some mumble jumble. That understanding comes from the QIP program. Or sir, etc., they do a lot of research which we do not have time to do. They do the lot of research, background work, then they make you understand in a very simple way. That is the best part. There was another question I'd like to discuss in paper 1, which was slightly bit confusing. Fredericks continuously changed his theory in order to create a perfect model. What was Fredericks' theory? Introduction. It was a 20-mark question. I just gave a brief outline. What is Fredericks' theory? Why he had to change his model? Because his funding was not there. The initial model he came up with, that faced a lot of controversy. People are not happy with the model. They told that it is a static model. Secondly, what is his model all about? How did he change his model? Then his approach. He had previously he had the inductive approach to that particular theory making. How did it change? Finally, I used a case study of Fredericks' relevance in India today. Because currently we are in the state of going from a developing to a developed nation, and we are also seeing all the features of Riggsian theory in current Indian context. So always my SOP was like this. I would have a facts and figures. This does not need a fact and figure. Second is relevant examples. I quoted Indian context. Third is I would always link all my answers to Indian administration. Similarly, there is a question on state versus market debate. How state is power good? How state is bad? I put two aspects of the question. Where market is good, where market is bad. I also put the two questions. Third is I put the solution. Solution is what? Market should operate in conditions where it is efficient, where it is necessary to bring in efficiency. State's role is that of a regulator to provide the rules, regulations, guidelines, etc., and see that markets operate in a fair manner. Example is say a sector where a state does not need to be there anymore. For example, producing breads, disinvestment of companies which produce scooters, breads, items of daily consumption, Maruti disinvestment. It is a perfect example, and state should play the role of regulator. So that way you should always connect it with Indian administration, keep it simple, and understand the concepts very well. This is regarding paper 1. I told about GS score QIP program. Please do attend the discussion classes. Even if you do not have the time, at least go to your home. If you are sitting idle, go through the videos. Videos are also available. Please go through the discussion classes. Lot of juice, lot of material you get from these discussion classes, including relevant examples, and then, as sir said, comparative perspective of facts and figures. You just need not vomit facts and figures for the sake of examiner ko lagega isne facts and figures liya hua hai. They must be relevant to your cause, and that sir and his team, they are doing it for almost every aspect of public administration, which we also need to do. Paper 2, I had certain extra things which I did. First of all, the same facts and figures things I maintained. Second is I had read it in some toppers perspective, toppers success strategy last year. I remembered constitutional articles, because if you see, paper 2 is all about Indian constitution, constitutionalism, etc. This is very important, I must mention this. Constitutionalism I had just mugged up from Rajni Goyal Arora. I had written some vague answer last time. But this time a concept of constitutionalism was cleared absolutely by Ashutosh sir. I must give him the reason. I mean, from constitutionalism I could know, I could remember constitutionalism kya hai, it is limitations, examples of constitutionalism in India. वो Ashutosh sir से ही मिला है. So I will be very very grateful to him. So his discussion classes that helped me a lot. So I had this mind, constitutional articles I used to quote. Every question governor आया. If it was about cabinet, if it was about even if suppose there is a question on Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Defence conflict, I quote that it comes from rules of business, rules of transaction of business. The statutory as well as the constitutional provisions I quoted every time. Sir, is this good? Constitutional. Exactly. You must quote constitutional articles, public administration, every aspect. If it is CAG, if it is about PAC, go to it. It will take you hardly 1 minute. Go to the background and see whether it is done by any statutory act or does it have any constitutional provision. There is a question on state legislature. I had quoted which aspect of constitution relates to state legislatures. I don't know. I mean, maybe the examiner would feel that you have gone to the constitution in depth and at least you are quoting that. This is one thing I did. Second is I had this tendency of again interlinking thinkers with this. Every question almost Ministry of Defence also I quoted Mari Parker Follett. For example, in the income tax, in the bank, there is a very general question on banks and NPS. I explained everything normally, but then I told that the major problem is with non-program decision making, which is Herbert-Simon theory, and it is non-program decision making, that is governance at the top in banks is suffering. Hence, Bank Board Bureau is a perfect antidote to this malfeasance of governance, and it has to be more good governance. I included concepts of NPM, I included concepts of good governance in this answer. Certain concepts of paper 1 you have to interlink with paper 2, which if anyone does attend the discussion classes of paper 2 of sir, he will perfectly and very terrifically interlink these concepts. And try on your own effort, because sir won't be able to help do it for every question. Try to take past 30 years question of paper 2. Try to think at least everywhere you can interlink one solution or one thinker or the other, and that really sets your answers apart from other people. When you quote thinkers, suppose if it is Herbert Simon, Mary Parker Follett, if it is Chris Argyris, if it is about say Lensis Likert, you would invariably find it is not a difficult task at all. And the examiner also feels that you are writing like a PubAd student. Sir, your inputs further. No.
You're doing all the inputs.
Sir, again in paper 2 also people are not.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Suman Saurabh for insightful discussion regarding PubAd. Okay, his success itself is quite a welcome change for people who are studying public administration for a long time and still not able to get success. Okay, so whatever he has told is very brief, probably comprehensive, and I think to the point. Okay, only one thing I would like to add, that whenever we are dealing with paper 2, okay, because paper 2, whatever syllabus we have, okay, you cannot deny the role of current affairs in that. So even if we are linking the paper, like he said, that is one of the best strategies to do, linking paper 1 with 2. Okay, but unless that current perspective has been understood, that why this question has come, because see PSU is there since 1995, 1990s, 1987, Geeta Krishnan committee and MOU system which comes. So you will see the questions on PSUs, and the same kind of question comes. The PSUs are exhausted leviathans, PSUs are failures. So let's say the same question comes next year. Now we cannot say that now PSUs are exhausted leviathans. But there is a turnaround. Okay, MOU system has been reformed. Okay, then you have this performance agreement now, performance contracts are there. Okay, Navratnas are there, their classification has been done, enough autonomy has been given. Then even if we say that they have failed, then definitely there must be some reference to, let's say, Indian Airlines. Are you getting? Or Air India? Let's say. So definitely your current will help you understand in what context this has been asked. Because the syllabus more or less same, static in nature. Okay, governor's role, or generally they ask question on governor and president's role, generally. Okay, but that does not mean that we will go and write everything regarding the governor historical aspect. Okay, but context, once we know that okay, Arunachal and Uttarakhand were the context, then probably we can write a better answer. So I think his strategy is quite good.
This time they have asked very not paper to typical questions. Like income tax, the bank export bureau, then the Ministry of Defense.
I think they more shifted towards the governance aspect. Because your paper 2 consists of polity part, administration and the governance part, where you talk about the application. So I think more focus on the governance part, less on the polity part.
So if we see such unexpected questions, for prospective students, what's the best way?
I think best way is again the same thing. You know the context, write the basic facts you know, use the context to make him understand that why you have asked this particular thing, what can be the remedies. Okay. Any case study example you might have, let's say a particular state or a particular country which has used the same model, same thing and transformed. I think that is the best way to write an answer. That means you have to write, let's say, practical and very generic. Okay, don't try to make it complicated. Because see, even if we are talking about Taylor, okay, so there are a number of developments before Taylor which could be considered as scientific management. Why James Watt? Okay, but the logic is that when we are studying, we can use all these ideas. But when we are writing, we cannot go at that length. So even in paper 2, what happens, people are writing the answer, but because they don't have a specific structure in their mind, what they do, they lose the track of their own answer. Like you also said that if you write so long paragraphs, you keep repeating yourself. So if you read your own answer after some time, you will come to know that I could have definitely written better than this. I think whatever strategy was given is very good. Probably PubAd students who have scored less or who have scored lower ranks also. So I don't think you consider PubAd as a limitation.
No, sir. This year actually public administration has done phenomenally.
Right. In fact, like you are saying, so you might have a number of friends who have already qualified from PubAd and there are so many students. But I think over the time, the PubAd performance will increase only when people understand that it is not a theoretical subject. It is more of an applied subject.
Applied subject and current affairs you must. Current affairs, relevant examples and interlinking of concepts. And while reading...
Vocabulary, one clarification I would like it from you also. People are concerned about vocabulary. That PubAd questions are complicated, should we write it in that way? But I would say go for simplification. High-end vocabulary, I think, is not required for the answer.
All such QAP classes, if a class 10 student also sits there, he can understand. So that way, you have to write it very simple because the examiner who is checking your paper, he doesn't have much time. He does not have time to understand your critical thinking. Simple, standard language, decode it, use the questions, and actually the answer lies in the question. If you see PubAd's questions, today I was talking to sir, simple questions, the answer lies in the question. Just have patience, break down and write simple answers. You need not write very excellent vocabulary, etc. And another big myth is people do this mistake, sir, I have seen. They write complicated, they mug up all those quotations of philosophy, public administration thinkers, Demog, etc. That is not necessary at all. The people mug up. It is not necessary at all. Just you have to make him understand that you have understood, the examiner.
So we would like to thank Saurabh and his time. Okay, congratulations. All the best to you. Thank you.